A quick note before we start the show. In this episode, we talk to the wonderfully knowledgeable Pat Watson, former Coast Guard and police officer turned voluntarist, educator on everything tactical, and host of the Uncensored Tactical podcast. Usually we bring Pat on to educate us for an hour or two. This time we just wanted to shoot the shit, celebrate the release of his book, Tactical Lockpicking, and talk about the writing process. But for our full episode that serves as a prelude and crash course on lockpicking, please listen to episode 29 of the eMilitia podcast, Uncensored Tactical, Lockpicking, and Cocaine. Otherwise, please enjoy us dragging Pat down the rabbit hole.
In a lot of stores. So it's little wonder that smart shoppers everywhere take time out to pause and refresh. And where else but in the fountain where they serve ice-cold Coca-Cola?
The eMilitia Podcast. Episode 46. Pat Watson. Friendsteading and Jazz Cabbage. Enjoy, fuckers.
Which regular dough.
It didn't.
Yay!
Unsatisfying to me at all.
That's beautiful.
That's good.
It's a nice looking loaf,
It is a beautiful loaf.
but I expected it to be sourdough,
Me too.
so I'm not disappointed. It's not
It's
like
like-
it affects me at all. I'm not going to eat any of it. I don't even get to
But
touch
still.
it. But
You'd like
Could've
to
done better.
assume that
You could've done
it's
better.
Yeah.
I'd like to see your loaf. You
uh,
fucking braggart.
the last thing I baked was illegal,
I lived next
so
to
already better.
I lived next to a bread factory for like 6 months.
Is there a lot of yeast infections near you?
No, but it smelled delicious all the time.
That's good.
But I couldn't get any of the bread.
Damn.
What about the weight, like the leftovers? Be feeding that shit to my chickens. Give me them reject loaves.
Give me the reject loaves, man. That sounds like a band name. Somebody write that down.
Reject loaves.
Reject loaves.
The reject loaves. This is a good intro. I don't think we even need to do an intro. This is it. We should keep all this.
Should we just do a fade in fat cast? Like there's just too much good content here, so we're just fading in midway.
Right. I feel like we should publish the loaf chat. Loaf
The
chat.
loaf,
Yeah.
loaf
Been pretty
gate.
good.
Wait,
Alright.
isn't it Pat's pet peeve that if the podcast doesn't hit the topic within the first 15 minutes, it sucks?
Well, we can.
Doesn't
it's
matter,
been
not my
2 minutes.
podcast. Well,
It's been 2 minutes.
we'll just talk about we'll talk about bread for
we
like
have
14
12
minutes.
and a half more minutes to talk
Yeah.
about whatever we want, and then we
But
can
it's
say, "Oh
Pat's
yeah, we're going to
bread.
talk about Pat's book." And that's how long it takes. There, but I've already done it, so we're good. So now we can talk about anything else. We've already talked about the topic, right?
No, you said what the topic was. We haven't talked.
All right.
Fair. It's a nice loaf, though.
Thank you.
Too bad our audience can't see it.
All right, hello and welcome to the eMilitia podcast. Today we're going to be talking to Pat Watson about his new book on lockpicking, and I'm joined by my co-hosts Bootlickers Beware, aka Gramps, Buckles, Guns, Rezi, and returning host Mel.
Long
Empress.
awaited the return of the queen.
Not Empress, come on, respect royalty.
That's
Anyway.
not the meme.
You have firmly derailed me. Anyway, so today we were previously joined by Pat Watson to talk about his guest in episode 29. So
If
we
you haven't listened to it, you should do that for the
Yeah, we
background.
dove
Also,
deep
it was like
into-
one of my favorite to record, so I think you'd enjoy listening to it.
I mean, do you remember the episode itself?
Yeah.
That's shocking. Well done.
It was a good one. It kept my
How's
interest.
it going, Pat?
Honestly, I'm really grateful that you guys had me on. I was a big fan of what you guys were doing before I was even on the show.
That's really nice.
That warms my heart because I was the same way. I was like watching all your episodes, like, yeah, maybe one day we'll get legit enough to, consider inviting Pat on and not embarrass ourselves. But now we just openly embarrass ourselves in front of
I
you.
was
So
gonna
that,
say, now we have you on and we just embarrass ourselves anyways.
yeah, we've
Fine
covered a
with
lot
me.
of ground.
It became
I
much
much
easier when you were. Sorry, go ahead.
Yeah,
I much prefer this to fucking boring terrestrial radio. God, how that stuff's got to be dying.
Terrestrial radio.
well, should we get the terrestrial radio part out of the way? So, what's the title of your new book?
Yeah, it's tactical lockpicking, and then it's got a subtitle. It's like 30 words long, so we could skip that.
I'm all about those subheadings.
gotta know
Like,
the
but the
subheading.
real title that we want.
Yeah, we
you
need
just-
the full context here.
That's
A
like the
systemized
input.
approach for responding to locked obstacles during emergencies.
I love
What
it.
if I just want to do
I
it for
like it.
fun?
You can almost tell that you're a
I can do
military
that.
man.
Almost. You know what? Maybe I should have wrote the book in like a PowerPoint format.
Oh Jesus
People
Christ!
would love it.
With like lots of bullet points.
Lots of bullet points.
No,
There's some
paragraphs.
bullet points in the book.
Well, an
There's
emoji too.
Emojis, bullet
Yeah.
points.
You'd have to ship out the hard copy with glow
What do you
belts for safety.
what do you call the little highlighted sections where you have the pro tips?
So this is new to me. I don't know if everyone knows this, but I've never written a book before. So I learned a lot of shit, and it sucks. It's a long, hard process,
Yeah,
and
Every
it is not
time-
enjoyable.
every time someone comes out with a book, like the first book, and everyone's like, "Hey, well done!" I'm like, "No, you don't appreciate how fucking maddening that
It
was." I'm
sucked.
still. Everyone knows my infamous book is somewhere in development, but you got it done. No one does that,
It
well, apart
sucked,
from
man.
all the authors. But you know,
To answer your question, the little parts with the highlighted box, I think those are called text boxes. Text boxes, right? Highlight boxes. I don't fucking know. Anyways, the editing sucked. I read this whole thing cover to cover probably 30 or 40 times in the last few months.
You gotta. I bet I can find an error in it.
Yo, you will definitely find errors in it. I can tell you where some of them are.
oh Christ, don't do that to yourself. So, like, how's it feel to be done, and then how's it feel to, you know, I mean, there's kind of a love-hate relationship during that editing phase. So, how's it feel to come out and promote something that you're kind of like, fuck this book, but also content with?
First of all, it was a fucking load off my shoulders. Like the huge weight came off my shoulders. I've had the idea of writing books for years and years. When I was on deployments, I used to bring my laptops and just type and type and type, whether it was journaling my progress or my operations or ideas I had. So writing, I liked. And I always thought about writing a book. And then people also ask the question a lot, which is how long did it take? And that's got different answers for different parameters. So from the idea of, hey, I'm going to write this book, to having a published book in hand, like there's like 30 different timelines. So I knew I wanted to write a book. One of the titles that I wanted to write about was this skill set. So I determined that, okay, great. From having the idea to sitting down and getting an outline, and then to like getting a pretty good outline, that took several months, like almost as long as it takes to make a baby or like a poorly developed baby. So maybe 6 or 7 months. So the outline was surprisingly was a really fucking hard thing to do, and I struggled with with what to not put in the book, like what to take out. So I had.
I'm sorry.
That's all right. I had like a big poster board. I had a bunch of bullet points on it, and I was like, okay, what are all the fucking things I could talk about? And there were like 100 bullet points, and I'm like, great.
Maybe a few less.
Each one of those could be a whole chapter. Fuck. So I had to go back and I had to throw a ton of shit out. So the timeline from having a mostly finished rough draft, having that to getting published, well, it was maybe close to a year. So maybe a year of writing and then maybe a year of publishing.
That's not bad. I have
Roughly.
I have a couple friends that have written books, and they took way longer to do it than you. So you got that going for you.
But it's out.
I'm proud of you.
Do you have any formal background in writing?
I have a formal background in putting information into training and digestible formats for people to use. So I've been teaching and training the whole time I've been in military and law enforcement operations, which is most of my adult life.
Oh, so you've been writing those manuals that read like stereo instructions.
Writing the SOPs.
Well, to be more specific, yes. However, I used to hate the shit that I was presented with. Like I'd get to a new unit. Here's one for you. So the very first unit I went to right out of boot camp was a ship, and I had never been on a ship before I joined the Coast Guard. So I get on this big ass boat, and they go, "Hey, pack your shit tonight because we're leaving tomorrow." And I'm like, "Oh, great! First day out of boot camp." I get there, I grab my luggage from my truck, throw it on the ship, and then we fucking take the lines off, and we're gone. And they hand me this manual. It's like a printed, stapled, like shitty copy paper, like 15, 20-page packet. And they're like, you have to memorize all of this as fast as you can. And I don't know if you guys know this, but it's important to see other boats at night so you don't crash into them. Right. It's also important, like, they're not vehicles, and there's no, it's just one big blue watery road out there. There's not exactly intersections.
They're not vehicles?
Yeah. So you have to see...
There's not interstates.
There are no interstates on this big blue watery road. So you have to see the lights, like the red and green and white lights on these boats.
What does the red lights mean?
I don't know yet. It depends. Hashtag it depends. So they gave me a packet, and they put photos in it. Like, hey, if you see a red light on top of a white light, it means this. If you see a white light on top of a red light or a green light, it means this or that. And the packet was in black and white.
Oh, gosh.
So, my very first boat I was on, I read their shitty packet. I got qualified. We got back from our operation a couple months later. We got a bunch of new guys in. And then they said, hey, go print out a couple packets and give it to those new guys. And I was like, yeah, sure. Okay, I'll get right on that. So in a couple days, I drew up my own packet. I printed color photos. I put in extra info that made sense. I took out info that didn't make sense. And I handed it out to everybody. I didn't ask for permission. I just fucking did it. And then all the new guys went, oh, this makes perfect sense. And all the older guys got their hands on it, and they were like, wait, what is this? Why are these photos in color? And I was like, yeah, that's odd, huh? Kind of like they should have been that way this whole time. So I started doing this long, long ago, putting things into that format that hopefully makes sense to people.
So what's your favorite color?
Oh, God. Like does rainbow count
like if
as
you
one
were on
color?
a boat and like you realized that you were going to have a collision with another boat and everyone was going to die, what color light would you want to see to signify that to you?
Black.
A black light? That'd be cool.
A black
Yeah.
light.
That would be cool.
It's like
I would expect that like the red lights are like only on the starboard side or like vice
God, I
versa
don't even-
and shit. So like people can understand the layout of the boat that they see.
It's been a while.
Or,
I
like,
don't
which
even
way it's
fucking
moving.
remember. I think the green is on the right, the red's on the
You've
left. I
titillated
think.
me, and you can't give me enough information to satisfy me.
Well, it's a
Okay.
red right return. And so what
Sometimes.
you're telling me is that
Sometimes.
sometimes.
Yeah, it depends. Yeah, it depends on whether or not like you're going like with the flow of an intercoastal water. Like it depends. There's so many rules of the road. It's like it's not always red right.
Yeah, there's lots of rules.
Lots
I
of
used to
rules.
know almost all of them. Now I know almost none of them.
beautiful deprogramming.
And
Just
wait,
dump that
you
shit.
didn't write a book on this, did you?
Fuck God, no. I hated boats. I hated the ocean. I hated the water. I hated the sand. I hated the
What
beach.
the fuck possessed you to join the Coast Guard?
I'll give you the Cliff Notes version. They had a really good program where they would let me jump out of helicopters with fully automatic machine guns and to
Oh,
go
that's quite fun.
and
They
to
did.
jump on people's boats when I was blacked out at night with NVGs on. So I said, hey, I'll do that. Take the good with the bad. I guess I have to do it on the water, but that's fine. I'll do it.
Well, did you know you disliked all those things before you joined?
Hmm?
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Oh god,
I was well informed. I'm
my
a glutton
sympathy
for
just
pun-
ran out.
glutton for punishment.
Oh man, that's the saddest thing.
So
Oh, so that's
are you
that's
gonna
actually a
retire
topic.
now that you've
What?
written your book and you're gonna
Yeah, that'd be nice,
you're gonna
right?
retire and bake rustic loaves,
Big rustic loaves of bread in my cabin in the woods,
cottage core.
That's my
high off my ass on. What's the
Opium.
nickname? I'm not a drug guy. What do you? Kush?
devil's salad.
Reefer? That's what it used to call
I
it.
even
when I was
fucked that up. It's devil's
long
salad.
ago when I was a
The
kid.
double
That's what
salad.
we used to call it. Reefer.
Toss the
Jazz
double
cabbage.
salad.
Jazz. I do like jazz cabbage.
Oh,
I feel like that really spits in the face of death. Oh yeah, did you guys grow up with dare? Like, I bought a shirt because it's edgy and it pisses off old people here. But like, did you guys grow up with dare? When was that? Sorry, this is really
I did.
Yeah, I was a kid
I
when
did.
Dare was a
Yeah.
I mean,
program.
it's been
I had
since
Dare.
Reagan, right? I'm pretty sure they still do it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
5th grade.
Yeah, I definitely had Dare. Like they brought the fucking that was
They
so
brought all
Did
the
they
drugs
light
into the
marijuana
classroom.
on fire
They
so
brought
you could
they
smell
brought
it?
weed. Yeah, and then they tried to get all the kids.
I
Tried
missed
to get all
that
the
one.
kids to snitch on
You-
their
So,
name.
like-
Yeah, pretty much. And teach
I-
you about cool drugs that you didn't even know existed.
Right.
But now you
Like,
do.
wow, you
Here's a
can do
briefcase
that?
of them. This
After I
is what
left
they
that
look like.
seminar, my interests were sky high.
Peaked.
I
Yeah.
was like, damn,
If
there's
they
a lot of
dismantled
different
Dare, it
things.
doesn't exist.
See,
It's
I
called
feel like we have a good opportunity to discuss the drug war, seeing as we have a former drug warrior with us.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, let me start with
How's it
this.
feel to lose the war to a plant?
Well, I would have to be personally invested in the war, so really, no opinion.
I was just following orders. So I
So-
don't give a fuck.
I never smoked weed a day in my life, all the way up through adulthood. And I never in my life thought, oh, that sounds like a great fun idea, until
How old
I
were
was
you?
working for the sheriff's office, and I went into the evidence room again and again and again, and I started getting real familiar with it smelling just fucking reeking of weed. And at one point, I was like, oh, we must have got some good weed in lately, because it smelled like a little better than usual. And I was like, I just stopped, and I'm like, huh.
You stole that shit, didn't you?
I'm like, maybe I could see some of this in my future. I was an anarchist before I swore the oath to become a local cop.
You stole that
so
weed.
I could have. You know what they fucking
You
hung
did.
on
You
lockers
did.
that locked it all in there?
Alleged. Oh, what?
They had $3 padlocks that kept all the lockers shut in that
That's
room.
why
And
you
there
got
were
into lockpicking.
no cameras.
You were like, "There's good weed in there. It's just me and a
That's-
$3 padlock between me and good weed."
Well, if he was any good,
love
he
it.
didn't even have to take it to the evidence locker.
Yeah.
I was gonna
He was,
say,
gone, he was gone before it was checked in.
is it victim blaming to laugh at the police department if any of those drugs went missing with $3 locks? Important
God,
question.
I
I
don't
don't think they're victims either way.
no, that's true, to be fair.
Who's the real victim here?
the poor dude who's walking down the beach around any weed.
Yeah. The guy who had his shit stolen.
Yeah, exactly.
By you.
Oh shit. Former gangster Pat Watson joining us.
Reformed pirate.
Reformed gangster.
Reformed pirate. I like that.
Yeah, pirate and gangster. Jesus.
I want to know.
That's pretty hard. I'm sorry, but that's probably how I'll introduce you next.
Reformed status
Reform
pirate.
status. It's pretty good. It's pretty good. I went on a date one time, and the girl described herself as a reforming Nazi.
Oh well, that's a bit
What?
different.
Yeah,
Hmm.
I was like, huh. I was like, I don't know if I want
Which direction was she reforming?
to. I mean, to
Like,
be
was she
less,
getting better or
yeah,
worse?
to be less
and-
Nazi.
Be less of a Nazi.
It's not like quitting
yeah.
smoking.
For personal
I mean, hey,
development.
that's better than being
It's
worse
definitely,
than that,
yeah,
or
it's
more
definitely
of a
better.
Nazi.
She was, yeah, that was she was a can of worms. I mean, a lot of shit going on there. I've had some really bad luck. I'll be honest.
Much.
It's called dating.
Yeah.
Yeah, right.
So I'm just celibate now. Thinking about becoming a monk
You should
on a mountain
You should,
Is that
somewhere.
why you're
just-
moody?
What?
dedicate yourself to baking bread.
You don't need a mountain. Just move in with me, bro. We'll bake bread all day.
Are you gonna be a monk with me, or are you gonna?
That's so nice.
Yeah, totally. Well, I'll do
I'd
that.
read
I'll do
that
that.
fan fiction.
We can make beer and bread all fucking day.
I don't think monks drink.
Yeah, you can make bread out of your spent grains.
Monks
Yeah.
invented scotch.
And we can put THC in our bread and our beer.
I want to be a monk.
And it's cool. We could do it because there's a religious exemption. We'll call it a, Oh, I forget all the time that I'm an ordained minister.
Yeah, I am too.
Yep, same.
Yeah.
Is that-
I am.
Pastor Pat.
Okay, so who in this chat's not ordained?
Pastor Pat
Control
and his
ordained,
weed loaves.
too.
I am a member of the clergy.
Sweet love.
I think
I would
only,
read that book. Is that a kid's
only
book?
of us.
I'll need an illustrator for my next book.
I get
Pastor
priority
Pat and his
parking.
weed
Oh,
loaves.
shit, I'll illustrate the
I
book,
can
man.
draw I draw a mean stick figure.
I would genuinely, I would love to illustrate something if it would fit. That'd be cool.
If you want your book to be anime, my kids are good at drawing that.
You know, I saw my first 2 ever anime movies last few months.
Animated movies or like anime movies?
Anime, I think, right?
Spirited Away? What was it? Spirited Away?
Yeah, it was,
Mills.
Spirited Away and
Spirited Away.
Whatever her name is.
Oh, that's a good one.
No, and I just watched it. I finished it today. Howl's Moving Castle.
Oh yeah,
That's a good one too.
Those are made by the same dude. I think. Could be wrong. Did everybody drop out, or
so hashtag
not
AMA?
Anything interesting enough to respond to?
I feel like Pat was getting her to say something interesting.
I was going to say, ask me anything.
Oh. So, what's your longest dry spell, Mister? I just watched 2 anime movies.
Longest dry, or easily was my Guantanamo Bay deployment. 9 months, 0 breaks, 0 vacations.
Mine was probably until I lost my virginity, so about like 15 years or so.
Jesus,
14, 15 years.
Oh.
9 months. That's pretty bad. You started young.
You guys never talked about what terrestrial radio was.
Right, yeah. I had a question about that.
I was just repeating it because Pat said it. I'm not an old person who knows what radio is. That's like a Spotify thing, right?
It's
like
it's radio
Spotify.
waves that go along.
Waves or
horizontally
particles?
with
I'm
the
not sure
ground.
yet.
Something like that.
Somewhere
Stays close to the
screaming
earth.
into the abyss.
Your AM, your FM.
Like NPR?
Yeah, AM, FM, all that shit.
Good stuff.
What are your tips for people who want to get into writing a book?
Oh
5
God,
tips. How about 5?
5 tips. All right, I'll start with 1. We'll see how far we can go.
Especially with Pat.
The hardest one that people struggle with is never fucking starting. And I was guilty of that as well for a long time. Duh.
Starting anything is the hardest part.
True.
Some people say the first step is the hardest, but if you take 1 step, then one of your feet has moved forward. The other one is still in home base. So really, I think every journey starts with 2 steps.
I feel like the momentum really helps that second step. I feel like you're over sensationalizing the second step.
Tips for people that want to write a book. You got to fucking start. You also have to admit to yourself that your first book that you write does not have to be your magnum opus. It doesn't have to be like the Odyssey and the Iliad. It can suck. You just have to get it out. Number 1, you have to fucking start. Number 2, you can't worry about it being perfect because you'll always edit and rewrite, and you'll never get it done. So at some point, you got to throw in the flag and say, "Here's my project."
Yep, I've wrote a book that no one.
How many tips is that? Like 2 or 3? Oh, 3.
That's a
That's
good
2
tip.
so
That's
far.
a good
2?
tip.
Okay.
That is one, yeah.
Fuck.
Really putting you on the spot.
That's 2.
Recite a list that you didn't prepare.
That's why we brought Mel in. She's got like the firm kind of like
Matronly.
Yeah, we just be like, if you only got 3, it's fine.
Yeah.
Mel's like 5.
Really demanding.
If there's one thing people are going to learn from your book, what would you describe that
Probably
as?
how to pick locks.
Sure, it's that you can learn a skill to apply to a specific obstacle, or you can learn a skill set and a systemized approach to apply it to a mission or a type of obstacle. And hopefully, I've provided the latter, which is the diagnosis or the systemized approach, or the assessment of how you would apply something to any general problem in that field. A lot of people say, "Hey, here's a tool, here's a lock, here's how it works. Okay, great. Pay me your money." I've said, here is how you're going to approach all these different things. I might be right, I might be wrong. You're allowed to fail. You're going to learn a lot from your failures. Here's how you self-diagnose. And here's the way you're going to want to look at some obstacles in the field. Oh, by the way, yes, here's how this tool works. Here's how this lock works. Here's how you pair them together. So the decision making is hopefully what people will learn from my book.
Kind of the difference between teaching a man to fish and giving him a fish. You show him how to fix, like how to get into one lock, and it's like, cool, I can get into these kind of locks. But it's kind of your approach is something that is, I think, kind of criminally undervalued when it comes to teaching. No one really, especially in, I mean, we could go in public schools.
Oh, fuck. Government schools?
I won't derail us that far because we could rant about that for 2 hours. But we're taught to do tests, and then we do the test, and then we don't actually know the knowledge. But rather, like giving us a system, you can approach anything. And that's how teaching should be, really.
That's something else too that I do in my courses, and I try to do in the book. Save one small exception, which was the 3-page introduction. I didn't even want to do that. In my courses, well, let's start with other people. In other people's courses, especially in any type of bureaucracy where you have like a captive audience where they have to attend your course, things like your suicide awareness prevention and sexual assault prevention, all this crap you have to sit through multiple times a year. So they start training is the wrong word. Most informative lectures that you have to sit through start off with a title screen, and then a bullet point screen, and then an introduction screen. And you're spending all this fucking time doing admin until you even get into the topic. Well, what I tried to do in my book was, like I said, besides the 3-page short introduction, was we jump right into a case study right off the bat. And then I say, hey, here's what tactical lockpicking is. After that, we go into kind of an admin phase, which is here's what you won't, here's what you'll get, here's what you won't, here's what this skill set is not, and here's what it is. So you already get that kind of dose of, I just saw this applied in the field. Okay, now we get to talk about, what is it? Cool. I do that in my courses too. Other people's courses, they go, hey, welcome, sit down, don't touch those locks. And you're like, okay. And you sit down and they go, here's my name, and my grandma and grandpa came to this country, and I served this many years behind a desk, and I was in charge of a team, and here's my assistant instructor. He's going to introduce himself for 20 minutes. And they're like, bro, let's go. So in my courses, I don't even introduce myself. Everyone gets there, and if I catch you walking in the door, I'll shake your hand. I'll say, hey, I'm Pat. I'll smile. We hang out. As soon as that clock strikes the time and asses are in seats, I don't even go, okay, everybody, hello, I'm Pat. I don't even do that. I go, pick up those locks, pick up those lock picks, hold it like this. Okay, good. Hold the other thing like that. Okay, open it. That's the very, very first thing that I do. And most of the people that I've taught are very, very happy with that.
I appreciated how the book jumped right into the action. Like right away, it was a case study, and you were at work, and we were following along with you.
No, it was like super immersive.
So you mentioned doing training for like sexual harassment prevention and suicide prevention or something?
I have never given that training, besides telling people that it's probably a bad idea to do that.
Did you have to go through those or something? Did you not say this like a couple minutes ago? Am I just imagining all this?
What?
Yeah, of course I've sat through those.
But you did
dozens and dozens of times.
Shit. You did talk about this, right?
Yeah, what am I missing here? What are you getting at?
I heard it and then didn't know how it related, so I just thought I missed something.
Yeah, because you sit through those pieces of training and they suck and they're boring, and the first 10 slides are all administrative, and before they even talk about, we should stop people from doing themselves.
Improving on the model.
Yes.
I see.
Yes, very much so.
Hey, Pat, have you ever thought about installing a bidet?
Yes, I have.
Have you installed a bidet?
Not yet.
No? But you're going to? Like, it's planned or like loosely or what?
Yeah, when I design the house that I'm going to live in, sure. Oh, that's one of the first things going in.
The bidet? What about the rest of the toilet?
Do you plan on having the separate bidet?
I was going to say,
that's a good question.
Really the separate bidet, or you could just do the attached?
Do not do the separate bidet. You do not want
to get up and shuffle step over.
Right.
Yeah, exactly. Why would you want to?
That's how they had that shit in Spain, which was my introduction to bidets, and it was bad. I was like, this is bullshit. Like, I just took a shit. I do not want to stand up and walk across this room right now.
Smush those cheeks together and do the shuffle step. No thanks.
You don't walk. You put them right next to each other.
No, it was like 8 feet away.
Yeah, but
no,
still inconvenient.
It was in all the hotels I was in.
It's much more convenient to grab one of those extendable, like, kitchen sink hoses and just shove it in there.
Yeah. That's what, yeah.
Anyway, man, I installed a bidet. Dude, this is my random recommendation for the podcast.
Uh-huh.
Everybody listening.
You're one of those You're one of those fucking people now. You're gonna be a bidet supremacist.
America is behind the curve.
God fucking damn it.
We're behind the curve when it comes to bidets. Okay, it is going to be a thing
everyone's a
of
European
normalcy.
all of a sudden.
It is going to be a thing of normalcy. I mean, if you think if you're outside and a bird shits on your hand, are you just gonna take a napkin and just wipe that shit off?
Amen.
No, you're not, because that's fucking gross. You're gonna rinse that shit off.
So
You just triggered BR over bidet.
No, he's European.
I don't want to talk
Yeah,
about fucking
also-
Europeans. They suck.
Well, it's an American bidet.
Ugh.
So let me put
Actually,
you on game.
Japanese
You can
make the
also-
nicest ones.
And like you can get them on Amazon.
Dude, my
as,
shit was
like,
$30.
Yeah, like a diaper spray,
diaper spray.
like a diaper spray. No, they sell them for like your
I don't even
sink.
know.
Or
Oh,
whatever,
yeah,
too.
I know.
What the fuck? What?
No,
Your
I
sink?
bought a bidet, like an add-on, and installed it.
God damn it! Now I have to
See.
fucking Google it.
I'm just saying that was my time and the time of my life when I got put onto that was when we had.
It's
to
also
install
super
it on the
powerful.
bath-
Here's the thing, guys. If
Whoa.
it doesn't have an air
Nice.
gap, the problem is if you ever lose water pressure, all that poop and bacteria gets sucked back into your water lines. So if you buy a cheap bidet and for some reason your city water goes out or you got a well water and the pump turns off, then you have the possibility of all them fucking germs being sucked back into your domestic
Poop
drinking
water.
water.
I don't know how that would
No.
normally happen, but the way that my bidet is set up, that would be an impossibility.
You'll have to
Oh
send
my
me a
god! They
picture.
just have like they
Let's
just
have
have
the
spray nozzles hooked up to the sink. What kind of fucking animals are these?
No, dude, it's not hooked up to your sink. It's hooked up to your to the water
yeah,
supply
the
line for your
pipe
toilet.
valve behind the toilet.
The valve.
Man.
It's just got a three-way. It's just got a three-way before it goes to the.
I'm not sure America.
My
Same,
bidet even has
you
a
know?
hookup option for heated water. I didn't do it,
Dang.
but I could have. I could have.
Should have.
Fancy.
Should have. I mean,
It would have. It would
hindsight,
have. It would have required another trip to Home Depot, and I already took one 6 a.m. trip to Home Depot, realizing that I did not have a functioning toilet after I tried to install the bidet the first time, and then
Oof.
waited until Home Depot opened at 6 a.m. all night. Took a shit at Home Depot, and then bought a flexible hose pipe, and that was all I needed. I'd recommend it though.
Mm-hmm.
You should get a bidet.
God damn it! I didn't want this podcast to become propaganda for European shite, so I apologize to people who come for.
Be
Literally,
cleaner.
actually.
Stop having a dirty ass.
European propaganda.
You know what? No, I'm looking at these. These things are gross. I'm telling you, you lose water pressure for any reason, and all them germs from your butt are being sucked right into your water lines.
I don't know what kind of bidet you're looking at, but mine does not work like that.
Yeah, how would that even be possible? It is the toilet, Resi. How would it go?
Oh, okay.
I'm
So
confused,
the
bro.
sprayer head
Right.
is hooked to the water line, right?
Yeah.
And the sprayer head goes inside
Yep.
the toilet where all the business happens, and it's hooked directly to your water line. So, like,
Okay.
when you release a
Sprayer,
straw,
it goes into the top half of the toilet.
Yeah, it doesn't go
Right.
like,
It
under
takes
the water.
the water
okay, so
from the
you're-
pipe and the wall, and then
So
redirects
so
it.
that water is spraying on your poopy butt.
Right.
You don't think it sprays on the nozzle?
Either way,
No,
it's
man,
spraying
you're
it out.
holding- no, dude.
Yeah, and then the water gets.
But
I'm
no,
telling
I've
you,
never
people.
shit at like a 60-degree angle backwards. So I've never had this
And
problem.
I've
I don't
also
think I
never-
will. I don't think it would happen unless I had a really
I don't
bad
think I've ever
night.
gotten poop on my hand. I know I've gotten poop on my hand from wiping more than I've gotten poop on my hand from a bidet.
Oh,
Like
it's not in your on your hand. It's in your drinking water.
I don't drink out of my toilet.
All right.
Yeah.
Well, so anyway,
Come on, Mr.
Move on.
Plumber.
Anyway,
yeah. I don't know how to. I never know how to lead on from that.
how do you feel
Um,
about the response to your book?
Thank you. So far, the biggest pattern I've seen from people that have given me some response is that they really enjoy the first person approach to it, where it's
Conversational.
yeah, it's conversational and it's a realistic, like it's talking through an obstacle. It's not just
Agreed.
it's not like a textbook where you read like, here's the science of how it works, here's the numbers, here's the stats. Like it's like, hey, I was doing this thing and oh no, a lock. Like people have really enjoyed the kind of down to earth talking through the approach,
Yeah, it's realistic.
which was the point. So I'm glad I hit that point. That's what I wanted to do.
Yeah, very much so. Like I said, it was like immersive. Like you totally felt like you were there. It made sense. It was smooth. I dug it.
Well, and like every little chapter is its own little action adventure too.
Yeah, that's kind of what it felt, was like those choose your own adventure books.
Like I'm like,
I'm so
is
glad
he gonna
people
get
write
in the
like that.
back door?
This
Is he
is-
gonna get in the front door?
Yeah,
I love
let's
it.
go first.
Yeah, that's
I'm thrilled.
legit.
I love it.
Exactly. That was a
Good.
time.
I'm waiting for, because a lot of people were waiting for the paperback book to come out. So I'm waiting for people to do more like in-depth feedback. I would like that a lot. If you're listening and you've got your hands on the book, please email me.
Absolutely. Oh yeah, well, I mean, we'll include it in the description. But where should people contact you if they want to give feedback and stuff?
Sure. The website's kind of home base. That's where you can find almost everything. It's uncensoredtactical.com. Or you can just email me, uncensoredtactical@gmail.com. That's a good place for the long feedback, like the long format, or for setting up any type of appointment or anything like
Fan
that.
fiction, love letters.
Yeah.
You know, if we want to leave our inheritance to you, yeah, really.
Seductive locksmith type.
Yeah, be like,
you know,
can I get a
fan
lock
fiction
of
porn.
your hair, lock picking man?
Yeah, is there any erotic scenes in it?
Actually, we talked about this last time.
Yeah, there's some adult jokes. Almost all my adult jokes had to be put back in after my editors went through it once or twice. So the ones that I started out with, almost all of them are still in there. I think I lost one or two to the editors.
The original
Do
cut.
they not know that sex sells?
Too bad.
Just
Like-
sticks in the mud.
Yeah, what a bunch of prudes.
Yeah.
Like, if I was you, I would just stand there and be like, all right, lock picking, but sexy.
Lockpicking,
That's the book.
but sexy.
Well,
That's
it's
the
great
book.
because if they read it at all, like right in the beginning, it says that it's called uncensored.
Yeah.
Should have copied and pasted your disclaimer and sent it to your editor.
There certainly were some challenges. Yeah, one of the biggest challenges was that everything was done via distance, so it wasn't like I sat down with someone and I said, "Okay, let's take a look at this phrase," and that, like, it was all right. Send it in, and I sent it, and they were like, "Okay, in a few days we'll send back what we think," and then they did. So there wasn't really a lot of chance to be like, "Hey, let's talk about the framing," and "Hey, let's, here's what I'm going
actual
for."
brainstorming.
There was almost no
Cool.
back and forth on like a small chunk level. Everything was a good chunk. That was kind of
Well,
tough to
it
handle.
was your first book. They probably weren't going to give you that kinds of hands-on help, anyways.
Yeah, who knows? But I'm happy. Dude, trust me, this thing looks much better now than the first draft did.
Good, yay.
So, you reckon you'd do like the way you wrote this? You think you'd do it the same way again, or would you like, go a different path?
I'm happy to do maybe a volume 2 or a volume 3. I'm gonna have to let my brain take a break for a while.
Oh hell yeah!
But almost certainly my next book or 2 are going to be on bureaucracy. So it's also going to be another nonfiction.
Oh dear.
Yeah, the outline's already done, and once that happens for
So
me,
it's a horror novel.
it's on. Yeah, horror novel. Yeah, about the state. I'd like to get into fiction soon, but writing just takes so goddamn long.
Type faster.
Yeah,
Oh,
I
well,
type fast
shit.
as shit.
Or like 70 words, 70 words a minute.
Yeah, I think I'm above 60. Yeah.
That's not
Well, it
that
sounds like the writing's great. It's all the editing and shit that drags stuff on.
Yeah.
Yeah, the process.
Working fucking 40 hours a week isn't helping.
Well,
No, that
someday
always sucks.
you'll be a retired author, and you'll just be sitting on your pile of publishing money, and it'll all be a fucking breeze.
Well, a girl can dream, huh?
that lock picking cash that we all know is out there. That's where the
If
big bucks are. I'm like, fuck! I wish I thought of that.
If I wanted to retire after one book, I certainly would not have done such a small audience topic.
Hey, Hey, it was in that firefighter website.
Yeah, I'm excited to jump into the EMS and the fire community.
That's very cool that they're like finding value in this. Have you had a lot of outreach from those kind of communities, or?
Not yet, just because I think a lot of people don't know. My Instagram is somewhere around 5,000 followers.
Yeah.
My website gets about 3,000 hits a month, and my
That's not bad
podcast
at
gets
all.
about 1,000 listens in the first week that an episode goes out. So I don't have a huge audience yet. But when I tag stuff with first responder, I always get these big blips.
Yeah. As long as they can stomach like the
Yeah, let's talk about that.
Politics here and there.
Yeah, so this is a really good chance for me to kind of sneak in these gems of liberty through the process.
Yeah,
And-
you were talking about that. Like your book has a few comments here and there kind of inserted, but
And that is a good thing too in my courses. I try not to be political in my course. I'm never really political. I talk about government, not about politics. They're kind of different. But it is a really good chance to say, hey, this is there's a lot of power in having this knowledge. By the way, I teach first responders and police and military and fire and EMS. I teach you guys all the same stuff that I teach regular old, Joe off the street. And I try and gauge like their responses, and I see how much more I should push with that. And I follow up with, nothing here is fucking secret. And even if it was, we're here to protect people, right? Could this possibly use to better yourself or to help someone else? Yes. Great. Then why would we feel morally righteous for murdering someone, for them having this information? Oh, well, that's kind of extreme. Oh, is it? Let's expand upon that.
Yeah, news to me.
So of course I put some of that stuff in the book.
Yeah, you see all these instructors that do the LEO courses only, and, all that kind of stuff, and it's like I mean, you said it perfectly. Why would we restrict information that could save lives from anyone? That's fucking insane to anyone reasonable, but it's out there. Plenty of it is out there. This exclusivity, and what do you think of those kind of courses? Not to badmouth anyone in particular, but
so I did a whole podcast recently on what did I call it? Law enforcement only training, specifically stuff like a law enforcement only rifle course. And this has been in my brain a lot these past few weeks. It's just fucking bizarre how you don't see the irony in it. I'm a cop, and they love to tell, we are the last line of defense, especially even if there's like a foreign invasion on the streets. I'm the last line of defense. Okay. Do you also like that quote that the Japanese said? Behind every blade of grass is a rifle. Okay, great. So you love that, right? You pro 2 Amendment, pro gun. We're here to protect the people. Also restricting information from those people about how to run a rifle. Wait a second. Uh-oh, we have a contradiction here.
Yep, a little bit of conflict.
So it's so weird. Like, we're only going to teach cops. Why? Well, because we want to protect people. Okay, what if those people want to, help protect themselves? Whoa, no. Wait a second. Are you going to be there
vigilantes?
Are you going to be there around every corner protecting these people? Well, no, we can't. Okay, so why can't they be good at protecting themselves? Well, does not compute. Like, it's so heavy. It's been on the fucking front of my brain for weeks and weeks now that I don't get how people don't see it. But I was there once in my life. Not lately, but
I think many of us are. It's like, oh, it's reasonable, It's like, but is it? Why would it be?
I don't know. It's the Matrix, man. Once you're out of the Matrix, there's no going back. It's just everything I see through this lens now. It's just fucking wild.
Well, it's the whole speeding ticket thing. Anyone who's ever gotten one is pissed about it.
Mm-hmm.
And they will tell you how they know it's a scam and it's just a revenue generator.
Mm-hmm.
But at the same time, they will tell you cops are out there saving your life by writing speeding tickets. In the same breath.
It's these mental walls that comes from it, and it's a lifelong. From the second that you're born in a hospital that takes government money, from a healthcare system that is highly regulated by the government. From the second that you're born, you're up against. You're up against a $1 trillion a year propaganda machine in every aspect of your life. Your commercials, your movie, your radio, terrestrial radio, stuff like that. Even your YouTube. Everything. The grocery store, the standardization of the highway system and the toll booths, everything you're up against is telling you government is good. And they use every possible way that they can explain that to you your whole life, and they just beat it into your fucking head. So when you tell someone, hey, that's not right, instantly the walls go up and they go, no, that's what I've heard my whole life. It must be right. Of course those walls go up. So I've been kind of it's tough to get into deep, but I've been kind of toying with the idea of opening people's minds kind of the way I would explain opening a lock. Sometimes there's an immediate bypass. You can reach right through and slip a latch and boom, that door comes open. So with some people, you can go, hey, can you define theft? Great. Can you define taxation? Oh, bingo. And they're like, oh, shit, I get it. Other people, it's kind of like picking each pin individually, and you have to do it sensitively. You have to do it in the right order. And if you fuck up, you lose all your process and you have to start over. So some people, you can go, hey, when you were in school, don't you kind of wish you had more of a choice for like which classes you went to? Because they kind of just shuffled you in and they were like, one size fits all. Here's your classes. Have fun. And some people would probably go, yeah, it would have been nice to have, some more classes that I was interested in. Oh, great. So, yeah, man, that school system could probably be a little better. Yeah. And that DMV sure sucks, doesn't it? Yeah. Man, wouldn't it be nice if like we had speed limits that made sense? Oh, of course, man. Some of these roads, I just want to go faster. I don't know why I deserve a ticket. Then you go, yeah, taxation is theft. And they're like, whoa, 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 whoa. And you lose all that progress.
It's the price for a civilized society, buddy.
So I think that it really, God, man, I'm happier that I don't work for the government in any capacity. But at the same time, like it's tough to always have these new glasses on where everything you see is through the lens of fuck this state. It's twofold. It comes with a big relief, which is I now am a free man, finally. But it also comes with the weight of fuck, I'm a free man living in this bullshit system.
Dude, there's so many movies and TV shows. As soon as I see it, I'm like, I can't watch that. That will anger me instantly. Like
propaganda or like
yeah, so much stuff that years ago I would have eaten up because it was some kind of action movie. And as soon as I see it, I'm like, nope, can't watch that.
I had a roommate that used to watch NCIS every single night, and I would just fucking laugh. And they'd be like, can you please not ruin this one episode for me? And I'm like, what? I didn't say anything. And they're like, I could just see it on your face. I'm like, sorry. I like the part where he said, we don't have time for a warrant. I like that part. That was funny. Good for them.
It's a good comedy.
We have to do what's right. We have to kick in this door right now. We just won't tell anybody.
He's a good cop. He's just trying to get home.
Just trying to get home. Just trying to save the world.
No, I've been thinking about that a lot myself recently. That new lens where just the most minute thing you're like, fuck, government's involved. And then you run about it and someone they'll look at you like you're fucking insane. You're like, yeah, no, I know it sounded like that. That's fine.
Yeah, no, that's been my life for the last 20 years. Like, I'm surprised I'm not more jaded and I still like survive in it because of that. And that's actually one of, my hopes was to like help soften the blow as people found things out and, become recovering status and whatever, like almost like AA, like I'll be your sponsor. Welcome.
Yeah. Can we talk about all moving to one community and kicking ass in one little corner of the, earth somewhere? Oh my God, Jesus, that would be great.
Yeah, I recommend somewhere with rain.
See, that's the trouble. So all of us will all have issue with the environment. Every time we discuss this, we're all the desert, the forest, the mountains.
The desert is a bad place for a homestead, objectively.
No, you're that's fair.
Okay.
There's the least mosquitoes.
Oh, good point.
What?
So here's
one where there's least mosquitoes.
I heard
that's melon buckles for the desert. Done.
I heard a Matrix recently.
Nothing lives.
Matrix-y, would you call it? Where I don't remember all of it, but one of the points was for tyranny or government or a law to have its force enacted, the government has to, one, they have to care about it, which means they have to know about it. Two, they have to have the reach, like the teeth. So if you are protesting right outside, the Capitol in Washington, D.C., there's going to be some Secret Service agents that are going to walk up and shut your shit down. If you are or maybe not protesting, if you're smoking a joint right out front of the police department, they're going to arrest you. If you're out in the middle of the mountains and there's not a single person in sight, well, A, they're not going to know about it. But B, if you got on a satellite phone and you called your local city, county, state enforcement agency and you said, hey, I have marijuana, I'm smoking it right now, here's my lat long position, I'm way out in the middle of the mountains, come get me, they're probably going to go, no, because the reach, they have to be able to get to you, and it has to be, they weigh those pros and cons as well. They have to go, is this really worth it? So,
I bet they do. I bet they do it.
Yeah, you think so?
Yeah. I mean, if you called your local police department, then they must not be that far away.
Not necessarily in a county, and even if you're on foot and you're walking through, a trail. Fuck. Yeah. The only way they can get there is on foot to walk to you, or fly in with a helicopter and drop somebody in.
How'd you get there?
You walked in. Did you hear the beginning?
So that's not. Oh, I thought you were talking about at a homestead, at your place.
If you're walking through the fucking mountains, right? If you're in a big national park,
right? Yeah, I understand.
So they have to weigh those pros and cons of the reach. So one, they have to be aware of it. Two, they have to have the reach, and three, it has to be within their pros and cons of doing that enforcement action. So when I try and think about this,
that's something.
Yeah, when I'm selecting a site where would be a good liberty community, it's got to match. It's got to at least hit some of those bullet points.
See, I feel like they're clamping down on Virginia with gun laws so hard because obviously it's on the step of DC. So you try and do anything kind of free-manish there, you're gonna get fucked up. But you get away from DC where all the pedophiles and lizards live, and you got some freedom. You go off and you find yourself some mountains. That's where they really don't give a fuck.
That would be nice.
Tennessee.
To get material out there to, Waco you. That's the main thing. I don't want to get gas pumped into my homestead. So how do we prevent that?
I love
you gotta
it.
make it expensive for them to get those tanks there.
So where are we going?
I think I don't know.
I like seasons, but not lots of weather. No tornadoes, preferably no hurricanes.
Yeah, fuck tornadoes.
I mean,
I don't
earthquakes.
do that shit.
Tennessee, northern Georgia,
no tsunamis.
Inland Maine,
Colorado.
So it should probably be somewhere where we can grow pretty well, right?
Yeah, we have to be able to grow.
We don't want a fucking awful summer or a fucking awful winter. So that's
Maine's got bad
the
winters.
south and the very north.
To be honest,
No
I'd take
mosquitoes.
bad winters over some other issues.
Oh, I'd prefer scorching summers. I can't. Bad winters, fucking ugh.
Other good news: if we're going to have a liberty community, we don't have to spend money on, buying expensive locks for our doors. If I'm living there,
Are you going to be the lock?
no. Just what's the point if you're my neighbor and you lock your door?
Oh.
Yeah, I'll just assume that Pat regularly
For the
hangs
people
out
that
in
aren't
the
you.
room when I'm not about.
I'm not. Yeah, I'm not worried about you breaking into anywhere. It's guns coming over.
Ran out of
Trying
beer.
to slip in at night.
I'll just check on you guys. I'll just come in and breathe on your cheek while you sleep.
Be like,
Nothing weird. Nothing weird.
Move stuff around.
Move all your furniture 1 inch to the left every single day.
be like, God damn it, Pat was in here. I thought that lock was good.
Just enough that you stub your toe, but not enough that you realize your furniture was moved.
Actually,
I thought that was you. That's now your responsibility from now on. Like, fucking Pat. Every time I stub my toe.
Every time.
It's bad.
He's gonna.
That's my lifelong goal is a
And
liberty
Capistan.
community and Capistan, whatever.
That's
Childeberg.
See, I feel like would you guys want to do it like out on public land and just do a Chaz and be like, this is ours now, or Thomas Stone?
No, because I want to be secure and not getting fucked with.
I've been thinking about this too. Even if you all get land and take up just one cul-de-sac or one street, that can have such a huge impact.
I've heard of that kind of stuff where like friends literally bought
is
like
there
crack.
Is there a name for that?
I don't. Yeah, I think there is. I don't know what it is. So.
Friendsteading.
Friendsteading. I like. Well, there is now. There's a name for it now. That'd be great because imagine you get one dead end street. You put one gate on the end.
Yep. 3 of your neighbors have a Barrett.
Most of your problems are solved right there.
Right.
Yep.
You want hell of a news report taking that out. I think when we all had our little get together, there was a lot of that kind of vibe going around. Like, fuck, wish we could do this every weekend. Kind of bittersweet. Like, let's just homestead.
Oh yeah. God, I'm so sad. I was gonna go hang out with you guys on that big meetup
next year. This will be yearly, and we're gonna like try and drag whiskey and maybe Babylon.
That hurt my soul. I'm sad that I missed it.
Oh man, yeah, we were like, oh wait, did we get locked out or something? And we were like, wish Pat was here. What was that? I swear there was something lock related. Anyway, you were in our thoughts. We were like,
thank you. You guys were in my thoughts.
Drinking with us. We had lovely Kerry Wedler, so we were like, we need more outside eMilitia friends to be drinking and smoking with us and doing other narcotics. Oh, and Mel, god damn it, next time. Although it's probably gonna be like fucking Alaska or something prohibitively expensive next time. That's what we were on about. We were on about Alaska for our homestead. We were like, that's where you go. That's where you go if you want to be left the fuck alone. I could do Alaska, even though the winters would suck balls. But I just know it's so far away that, you know, the government really just, it's expensive to fuck with you.
I just heard a podcast from a couple dudes in Alaska. They have a gun company. It was just yesterday I was listening. And they said that it is really tough to grow up there. They said you can do it and you can do some type of stuff, but it's really tough.
Yeah, it's like the opposite of the desert.
They did say though, they said because we're in the modern age, most of their food is imported. But I did good on them because they followed it up by saying, if the need were there, like if they stopped importing, people would get much more creative and they would start doing a lot more to grow locally. So
yeah, it's just not
currently they get a lot of import, but yeah, I mean you can really ramp up those greenhouses and indoor growing and canning and all that stuff.
I was gonna say I've never seen like an Arctic greenhouse or like concepts for that. I don't know how it would work in those kind of conditions. I imagine it would be like it would take.
There's some people that do that shit, man.
And Alaska's fucking huge. It depends on where you are in Alaska too. Like obviously, the more south you are.
South. Yeah. Fucking due north.
That's like saying you live west of the Mississippi. Oh, okay.
Yeah. Any of you guys been to Alaska?
I wanted to really bad. Never made it.
No.
Oh, man,
I had zero desire.
See, like, so my dad's he's quite the hunter, and he's got some buddies up there, and so I went a couple times as a little kid. It is fucking insane. It is like I've never seen. You know your concept for size and like scale. I feel like seeing Alaska just ups it one. It's fucking just big.
I have a lot of interest in that. I would really like to make it out there.
There you
I like to also check out like what is it, Montana, Wyoming, places like that. I really like Washington State. I visited up there a few times.
I've only ever been to Seattle. Isn't it like quite arid outside of the like in the hills? It's like grassy but arid or something.
I've heard it's the only rainforest north of the equator or something like that. The Pacific Northwest. On the west side of the mountains, it's really, really wet.
Yeah, it's almost like horrible, dude. Like, 2 out of every 3 days it rains, and it's not like the rain I'm used to. It's a lot of times it's just like a mist floating through the air. Oh. Yeah, and it's like it's gray all the time because of it.
Sounds hard to breathe.
Oh
and
my God,
where I'm
there's
from, it's
desert
gray all the
marshals
time. And
here.
I'm trying to get to somewhere like Colorado has like 300 sunny days a year, even though they get lots of
Awesome.
snow and shit. Like, I can't do the Pacific Northwest. It's just more gray, depressingness.
I like temperate. There's been a few places I've been that were really nice, like in the mountains. There's like Ruidoso in New Mexico. Like it'd get chilly enough to snow a little bit, but like not feet, and it was like gone within days. But then it's like warm
See,
enough to
like-
like swim and stuff, but not dying.
I hate New Mexico politically. Like, it's just a shithole of laws. But I don't, and it's just fucking ugly. Sorry, New Mexicans. But no, the climate is quite good. I don't mind it. All right, fucking Encapistan, New Mexico. Let's do.
I watched a documentary just yesterday on North Sentinel Island. You guys know what that is?
What is that?
That's the one where the natives have been undisturbed for several thousand years, minus very
yeah.
few exceptions.
Oh, those lucky
They're the ones that
Yeah,
they
where
throw
the
the
guy who
spears,
got
the
shot?
helicopters.
The guy who got shot with the bow and arrows.
Yeah.
Okay. Yep.
So I'm watching this documentary, and they say the island is, I don't know, a couple hundred miles off the coast of, I believe, India. And they say that the Indian government patrols the waters around the island and stops other people from making contact with the locals. Like, so they kind of
Wow.
protect the locals.
A
Like,
good
and I
government
thought,
function.
how weird that a government is actually protecting the way of life for a bunch of people. That's odd. Like, obviously they're doing it wrong.
That's their little token. That's what they can throw out in the big political stance of the world. They're like, look what we're doing over here. We got our little island. It's their little fucking. They take satellite photos of them and shit.
We could be that token.
Yeah, I'd love to be just observing us with drones and shit, and we're out returning to monkey. Good shit.
I'd be so flattered.
Just wave.
Like I'm so threatening with our rustic bread. Like
Tactical rustic bread.
The day I
Yeah,
can put down my
violently
AR
baking bread.
and just
Weaponized.
bake tactical bread.
Weaponized rustic bread.
Weaponized
We'll
bread.
find a way.
One of the book series I'm reading has weaponized bread in it, actually.
Is it poison?
I love it.
Does it have like razor
Well,
blades
that's
in
a
it?
thing.
What do they call it? Battle bread?
Battle bread.
I don't know.
Classic.
That's legit.
And the author is fantastic. If you guys are looking for liberty-oriented fiction books, this guy is fantastic. It's Terry Pratchett is the author, and it's the Watch series, like Watch, like City Watch.
Sounds familiar.
It sounds familiar too.
So believe it or not, it's about police officers in a city. And I didn't realize, like I read that, like it's about the city watch. They guard the city. And I didn't realize that it was about cops till like 2.5 books into the series. Like he does such a good job of talking about just different stories and different veins of how things work and how the city operates. And like it finally struck me and I was like, oh shit, this is a book about cops. Like it was really fun to read. It was really, it was funny as shit. He talks a lot about like really good jokes, really well planted. And a lot of it, I think he must have been an anarchist or close to it. And God, it tickles me. I'm on the last book in the series right now. I'm probably going to cry my eyes out at the end of the book. It's been really enjoyable this whole time.
Holy shit, Terry Pratchett is legit as hell. He has like a coat
Yeah,
of
like-
arms and everything. That's posh as fuck.
Yeah. And he wrote like 100 fucking fiction books.
Jesus.
Oh wow.
Dang.
Most of them are all related in different series. Really good stuff. I'll send you guys a couple screenshots when we log off here, but a lot of his content is really liberty oriented.
I find like a few authors, I revisit
That's why I
their
know him.
stuff, and I'm like, oh shit, maybe this guy was like anti-government. Vaguely, no label on it, but like,
Yeah, he's not hardcore. He's not like fuck the government, but he talks a lot about like he just brings up
observations.
kind of like those secret little benchmarks of like, hey, this doesn't really make a lot of sense, does it? Like, he has a lot of those moments.
I have a question for you about
What's up?
security. You ready?
That's probably a good idea, because we're on this podcast, yeah.
Okay, so you're really good at finagling your way through physical security measures, locks and stuff. But what about software security systems?
Sure, that's an easy answer. No clue.
Okay, right. So basically, like, the book teaches anybody that buys the book every way to break into my house. Except it doesn't.
Oh no, you.
I'm trying to learn how I can be protected from everybody that's reading this book.
Oh.
So there is one caveat to that. There are electronic or digital or whatever you want to call them, electronic access systems.
Yeah.
That can be bypassed with techniques that I use.
That can
So
be.
it's kind of like a software protection that can be bypassed with hardware. So, like, if
Okay.
you have an ID badge reader on your door, right?
Right, I do.
So the only way to unlock the door is you put your RFID card up to that thing, it
Mhm.
beeps, and you pull the door handle. There's also probably a keyway that you can pick open. There's also probably a latch that you can slide a coat hanger behind. There's also probably a handle on the far side that you can put an under door tool underneath the door, reach up and grab the far handle. So because there's electronic stuff implemented, doesn't necessarily mean that it has to be electronically attacked in order to gain access. If that makes sense.
Okay,
Yeah, and
that
then
makes
you talk about your like keypad kind of mathematics last time, which stumped everyone. We were
Yeah, I remember being way off.
Yeah, hopefully that chapter in the book makes it a little easier. You can read it at your own pace and see it like in a physical written format in front of your face.
Yeah, we had the benefit of having a picture in front of us, but our listeners were probably like, "What?"
I remember I kept doing calculations and then blurred
Yeah,
down a number, and
yeah.
every time you were like close, but it was actually thousands off.
I remember.
Yeah,
Yeah.
re-listening to that, we were like, "Wow, he's a very gentle teacher." Close.
Yeah, close. Close. It's because like, you knew exactly. You knew you knew the exact calculation that I did to get to that number, and like you knew why, and you were like, "I see where you're going, but that's wrong." And I
Well,
was
thanks,
like,
gentlemen.
"Try my best." Turned out to be like 9 or some bullshit like that.
Here, let me give some promotion to a good friend and a dead author of mine. Actually, not a good friend, never met him, but I really like him. So this is from the Watch series. This is from Terry Pratchett. So he's talking about one of the sergeants and whether or not that sergeant is going to follow an order to his death. So the quote is, I think it's Sergeant Colin is his name. Yeah. So he says, Colin had always thought that heroes had some special kind of clockwork that made them go out and die famously for God, country, and apple pie, or whatever particular delicacy their mother made. It had never occurred to him that they might do it because they'd get yelled at if they didn't. So think about the modern military, right?
Seriously.
Your officer says, "Hey, private, go run up that hill and storm those machine gun turrets." And he goes, "Oh shit, I'm gonna die if I do that." And the officer goes, "You better do it." And he's like, "Okay. I'll just run to my death. Sorry." So instead of getting yelled at, you go die. So it has a huge.
This is sad.
I mean, there's a lot to unpack in that one little statement that he put in there, and it's really, really well placed.
Because he doesn't like lead you to it. He just posts an observation, and I mean, if you think that's perfectly fine, you won't notice it at all. But those of us with those kind of inclinations are like, Jesus Christ.
Yeah, that might go over some people's
that's a lot.
heads.
I'll give you another one, same chapter of that book, I think. The commander looked at his shadow. It was full day, and the sand was mercifully free of his blood. The commander had been pacifying various recalcitrant parts of Clatch, a country, for long enough to wonder why, if he was pacifying people, he always seemed to be fighting them. If that doesn't sound like our libertarian point of view, I don't know what does. We're here for freedom. Let's drop some bombs.
What book is this?
Fuck yeah.
What book is this?
This is from the series, the Watch series. I think this book was called Let's see. This one's about Clatch. It's the second or third book in the series of The Watchmen, or the Watch, by Terry Pratchett.
Okay.
I knew his name was familiar. That's because he's the one that wrote Discworld.
Yes, he's the Discworld author.
Yeah.
Sounds like a store for records.
You'd think so, but
Here you go. Real big voluntarist quote. I think it's pronounced Ankh-Morpork is the city name. So Ankh-Morpork no longer had a fire brigade. The citizens had a rather disturbingly direct way of thinking at times, and it did not take long for people to see the rather obvious flaw in paying a group of people by the number of fires they put out. The penny really dropped shortly after Charcoal Tuesday. Since then, they had relied on good old principle of enlightened self-interest. People living close to a burning building did their best to douse the fire, because the thatch they saved might be their own.
Okay.
it's so simple. Yeah, it's perfect.
So that's why I love the books. All those little gems he puts in there about just tearing apart statism.
There's your recommendation. So far we have bidets in this book series. What else?
I think, I wrote a book too
There we go.
recently.
A recommendation.
What did you say the author's name was? Terry what?
Pratchett.
Okay.
And Pat Watson.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's who I was talking
Please
about.
look that one up too.
I'm gonna
Otherwise, our
Google you.
podcast has failed, and we'll be set.
I googled him before this podcast to see if there was something to talk about on there.
Pat
What,
Watson.
Terry Pratchett?
Vice President Industry Relations at TrueCar Incorporated? Question mark.
Probably not.
Are you a football coach?
Am I?
Yeah.
No, I'm not very
Yeah,
good at
that's
sports.
that's Seabone.
Did you go to college?
Your mom goes to college.
Did you go to Brown?
I don't know.
Not finding a whole lot on you. Unless these are in fact you.
Did you go to his
Probably not.
website?
No, I
You're
did
supposed
not.
to Google like the book name. That's what I did.
I just wanted to learn more about him.
That's creepy.
Which him?
Yeah, right?
And that's why I would
Document
want a good
the
lock to
person.
keep guns out in in
You can be my neighbor, just not my roommate.
I found your website.
Mm.
Hey, thanks, man.
Operator. Nice.
I'd say this is a good time to put a wrap on it,
Lap
huh?
here.
If Guns has resorted to reading Pat's website to
Pat.
try and stir up content,
Pat on other
I-
platforms. What the hell is that? Pin-
I feel like this will be useful for our blind listeners if we have any. Like Guns can just like talk through Pat's
I'm
website.
really bad at reading.
That's fine.
Don't
So
read
the-
good.
so the Marines and people
I
listen to that
do not read good at all, dude.
for an episode.
Training courses. Oh, you have videos?
I don't have a lot of video content. Most of my posts are almost exclusively just podcast content. I'd like to get back into video soon, but it takes a lot of time.
So, if anyone picks up Tactical Lockpicking, a systemized approach for responding to locked obstacles during emergencies by Pat Watson, be sure to leave him a Amazon review because he's only got 2 so far, and you need more than that.
Oh,
You need,
that'd be
like,
great.
5.
I'm honored.
Five is
I
like
need
legit
5.
territory. So that's like a focus group. That's what they do for polls, right? In this country for politics. I don't know. 5 people.
I don't know. I'm excited to get my first one where English is not their first language or second language.
Be all broken. Pat has helped me into many bike locks. I'm a rich man now.
Oh, you have reviews on here too?
Oh my
Man.
god.
I'm enjoying this website. You got shipped back from all the way 2018. You are vetted.
Are you sniffling? Do you have COVID?
Me?
Guns, if you have COVID, you have to tell us.
I don't think I do. I think I just am cursed with bad nose tunnels. Bad nose tunnels.
Bad
I'm a
noses.
bad sniffer.
Yeah.
What's this blue room thing you have going on here, Pat?
Blue room?
That is from one of the courses I taught. I like to rent out Airbnbs and teach my courses if I'm local. It's nice to do like a full target assessment on a freestanding house. This was
Nice.
Teach people how
This
to
is,
break into the Airbnb.
yeah.
I'm sure
This-
the owners appreciate that. They come back and their TV's gone.
That's just how Pat runs.
So instead of fucking with a keyway or trying to slip a latch, if those aren't great options for you, if you have one of these tools or you can make one of these tools, it's basically just a really fucking long coat hanger with a string or a line at the end. You slip it under the door, you turn it up towards the door handle, and you pull the door handle from the locked side of the room. That's an under door tool, is what it's called.
Oh, wow.
It is by far my number one favorite tool that I own.
It's
That's
just
impressive. Does
satisfying.
that go in
not
your
to have
wallet?
to-
Cannot keep it in your wallet, no.
You can use it as a back scratcher, probably.
Is that in line 2 or line 3 defense?
That would. So I have some people have given me some feedback to say that they were able to bend one of those and keep it in their second line bag. I don't keep one because my second line bag is very small. I may change that up and keep one in my second line bag in the future, but for now I just keep it in the trunk of my car.
You should get one that telescopes.
Yeah.
You should invent it. I like to see how long these go.
Oh my god.
Really long.
There's a lot of Airbnbs by me. There's a lot of underutilized pools in my area that may see some more patronage.
That sounds
break into their
that
backyards to go
sounds
swimming.
fantastic.
I feel like
No, I
Buckles
didn't
is
say
already
that
abusing
in
this
Minecraft.
knowledge.
Yeah. it's
Here's
fine.
Pat trying to save lives, and Buckles is like, yeah, I'm gonna go see some more pools. That's,
Hey, rest and relaxation is important. Self-care is important.
Who's the victim here, really?
Correct. And who's gonna tattle?
Security system.
The 30 feds that listen to our podcast.
Swimming
they
is
bump-
my biggest crime.
It's gonna be like an
I'll wear the
increase in
title
like
probably.
break-ins in your area. Home surveillance
I
footage
would even
shows
clean their pool. I would brush it and clean it. I'll check the chemicals for
the
them.
perp broke into
Are
my
we still
backyard,
recording?
cleaned my pool,
yes.
and left.
Yeah.
She's
Wait.
done it at a dozen houses in the community. We have to stop this one.
Oh my god.
Crystal
Alright.
clear pools.
I'll be doing some cleanup on this. But everyone will lead out. God, does no one remember how we do podcasts?
My vibe's been off. So no.
Thanks for listening. Buy Pat's book. Bye.
Yeah, buy Pat's book. Give Pat money.
Thank you, Pat.
I'm really happy to have been here.
Become his patron. Is that what it's called? Patron?
Mm-hmm.
Patron? Yeah, I do have Patron.
Patreon supporter.
Oh yeah.
Patron.
There we go.
Buy the book. Go to the course. Learn how to break into a Airbnb with Pat.
I don't feel like that's the maximum utilization of that skill set, but you'd probably be capable.
See how vulnerable your house is.
That's a spin-off book that I wrote. It's a fan fiction called, Spicy Summer.
Learn about the special uses of a coat hanger.
Ooh.
Yeah, there you go. Oh, that's good. Many
that
directions.
sounds oddly libertarian.
Mm-hmm.
Kick the bot out of the chat.
Yeah, I'll be getting on that right
Learn
now.
how to cook bread with Pat.
Alright, well,
His next
thanks-
book is going to be on rustic loaves.
Oh yes, yeah. Before you get into the bureaucracy and de-brainwashing people, whatever the fuck you call that, re-educating them, deprogram. There you go.
Unlocking minds.
Unlocking minds. There you go. That's a lot more slick than anything this drunk show is gonna come up with. But
Completely
yeah,
sober.
thank you.
This is just me. This is just how I am.
This is just me, maybe.
Remember
so-
how you were 3 hours late last time you were on our podcast?
Yes. I was only 15 minutes late this time.
Good job.
At this rate,
Marked
I should be
improvement.
on time if I am ever invited
Well,
back.
you
next
should be like
time- next
2
time-
hours early to the next one.
Yeah.
Big
I'm gonna
if.
be like, come on, guys, what the fuck?
Where are you guys at?
I'm ready.
Waiting on you.
Well, thanks for coming on again, Pat. It's always a pleasure to have you. But I mean, either education or nonsense, or a healthy mix of both.
Well, I'm really happy to have been here. You guys have a really good reputation. I really like it.
I have no
Thank
idea
you.
why
We do.
reputation, but we
We appreciate it.
Where'd you hear that?
When I say reputation, I don't mean that you're good people. I mean,
Oh, thank fuck. Jesus.
Oh, yeah.
I was like,
To be
who's
clear.
lying?
Heard about it.
Someone's lying. Fuck those people. Anyway.
be clear.
Check out Pat on Uncensored Tactical Podcast. Check out his book, Tactical Lockpicking. Any other plugs?
No, I'm thrilled. Thank you guys.
Fuck
Follow
yeah.
my meme page.
Nah, don't follow Guns. Fuck him. He's got too many followers. Alright, thanks for listening, everyone. We'll see you next time.
So I hang up now without saying